Welcome back to the Homestead. This past weekend when we were at the Homesteaders of America conference, I was able to talk to another family who had a tube-fed kiddo just like Caroline. And some people don't know our story with Caroline and how we got her off of medical formula and switched over to feeds that we make ourselves here at home. So Caroline has had a G-tube for, she's 12 now. She's had it for probably 7 or 8 years. And during that time, she's always been fed a medical formula. So there were several times where I thought about, it's junk in these. It's pure sugar and corn syrup and stuff that's just not good for these already medically fragile children. Well, I just didn't feel like I had the expertise or the knowledge to where I could know how many calories she was getting, make her sure that she was getting all of her vitamins and minerals and all those things that the medical formulas claim to have packed in them to make our kids as healthy as possible. So it was back in August of 2018 and Caroline had a GI bleed. We were at home. She started vomiting just large amounts of bright red blood. We rushed her to an ER where she was admitted and we found out she had a GI bleed. So it was during that stay that I was talking to her, her physical therapist had already talked to me and said, hey, have you ever thought about making her feeds? And she was able to link me up with another mom who had been making feeds for her child also. And it was just so funny the way God worked that situation out, because it was days, like on a Tuesday, and then we were admitted to the hospital on a Thursday when those conversations started. So while we were inpatient, something in me kept saying, we've got to get her off of this formula. And so we were finally discharged with meds to heal her stomach, and we got home and she started throwing up again. And I remember calling the doctor and just saying, she's thrown up 5 times since we've been home in the past 3 hours. And Caroline's history with this formula was that every time, it was pretty much daily. She threw up several times a day. And it was her feeds, and she wasn't gaining weight. And doctors, nutritionists would say, we need to keep upping her formula, but we can't because then she throws it up. And we really need her to gain weight. She had been stuck at like 53 pounds for a while. So we got home, she was thrown up. I spoke with the doctor and he said to me, this is a conversation that we probably need to have in the office, but this may be the way it always is. It's just Caroline has cerebral palsy, and sometimes it's just the way it is with kids like this. Well, I just wasn't ready for that to be the answer and her reality. And somehow deep inside, I knew that wasn't what, that just wasn't what was going to be best for Caroline. And I just didn't feel like that was really what our future was going to be. So long story short, I started talking to this other mom, and we developed a plan on how we could get Caroline off of this formula. And the very first thing I did was start her on straight bone broth. I gave her that over like a 24-hour period. And after that, we started adding in different foods. Now, in order to make what is called a blenderized diet, you've got to have a blender that is very, very powerful to get these foods pureed enough to go through a G-tube. So with Caroline, we have a Vitamix, and Blend Tech is also another blender that will work when doing these feeds. We got a Vitamix, and we started adding things like chicken and applesauce, and from there, I just went up. And Caroline's quality, I would say her quality of life and her health. Last year, we went through winter. I don't even remember us being on an antibiotic. She used to have to do like nebulizer treatments during the winter. Knock on wood. She was great last year. She started gaining weight. We met with her nutritionist, and she kind of gave me an idea of, and she was okay with me doing the blenderized diet, which I was really thankful for. And she said, try to aim for this many calories, and touch base with us in a few months, and we'll check on her weight. So I tried to hit those calories, and I just started making a list of foods, and we just kept introducing a new food every few days until we got her blends. So today, a typical blend, and it changes from day to day, just like everybody else. Your foods change every day. Well, she's no different. Just because she has special medical needs doesn't mean that her food intake needs to be different than everybody else's per se. She doesn't have to drink sugary cans of formula. And she can be just as healthy, well, actually healthier. And that has been shown to us through and said to us by several doctors, which that has just been a blessing. So every day I'll go through like a typical day. So the feed that you're going to see me make today is ground chicken from our chickens that we raise in our backyard. She has kale. She has carrots, tomatoes, peanut butter we use for calories, maple syrup, blueberries, banana, applesauce. We do use coconut milk for calories, but she does also get the milk that we have from our cow. She also gets yogurt, kelp. I use turmeric every day, pink sea salt, and then I add in herbs. So this is her blend for today. Oh, and we used to use Miralax for constipation or to help her go to the bathroom better. Now we use aloe vera juice. So you will see that clear liquid that I pour into the blender is going to be the aloe vera. So I put all of this into a Vitamix every single day. We puree it. You have to do it on the high speed for a good while. You want to make sure that everything is completely blended. And then I pour it into her feeds for the day. And then she gets syringe fed with an O-ring syringe. She gets a breakfast, lunch, and dinner, just like everybody else in our family. And then she gets snacks of water for hydration throughout the day. So we used to do juice until we needed to cut back some calories. And then sometimes we would do like a milkshake. But we don't need as many. Now that she's gotten up, so her weight check today actually was her well child 12-year checkup. And she was 71 pounds. So we, over the past 14, almost 15 months, we have gone from 53 pounds to 71 pounds. She is not throwing up. Her hair, her skin, she looks wonderful. Her doctors comment about how great she looks. And even doctors that haven't seen her over an extended period of time have said to us numerous times, "Oh my goodness, what have you done? She looks so great." And all I can tell them is we feed her real food. In August, Caroline had her biggest surgery that she's ever had, and it was a spinal fusion to correct her scoliosis. And she came out of that surgery wonderfully. In the past, we've had to do breathing treatments. She's just not woken up very well, and then recoveries have been tough for her. But her orthopedic surgeon was completely thrilled that we made her feeds. The nurses knew that we made her feeds. We were able to educate some of the nurses even while she was in the hospital as to what bone broth was, because that was the very first food that I gave her when we were able to start giving her feeds again. And just educating them on the health benefits of bone broth and everything that is in them that helps to nourish the body and heal the body and helps with inflammation and just gut health. And they were amazed. Like, they would look at her feeds and they would say, "Well, what is in those?" And I'd tell them, they're like, "Well, gosh, that sounds good." And it is. You can taste her feeds. Banana overpowers the flavor almost all the time. Her feeds always look green unless we have put beets in them, and then they're a beautiful pink color. But the kale and spinach that she gets every day always takes over the color. But they smell really good. They taste really good because they're real food. So that was just a really neat experience. Even though she was in the hospital, we were able to educate some nurses, and I was so excited that her doctor was completely on board. When we went back even for her 4-week checkup, her doctor said, "I really think that the reason she healed so well was because you made her feeds." And when I heard him say that, I just knew that what we were doing for Caroline was it. That was, I will never change. I will say never. I don't plan to change her feeds. We have gotten rid of every piece of medical formula that we had. She's no longer on a feeding pump. She gets 3 meals a day, just like us. And if you notice, when I was making her feeds, I don't measure anymore. I did when we were first getting her started, and I was trying to aim for 1,400 calories. But right now, I go completely by Caroline and by her signs. Every day is different. She gets a variety of foods. And just like with my other 3 children, I don't chase them around and count calories, and I don't try to figure out, you know, did you get this, this, and this today? So I go by her. If I notice her belly is looking good, her clothes are getting tighter, or then I know she's still gaining really well. If I notice that she's looking a little thinner, her clothes aren't fitting the same, then sometimes I'll think, oh, we need to boost her calories back up. And so I completely go by her. And some days she's hungrier than others, just like regular kids are when they're growing and things. So some days she might eat a little bit more or more frequently, and other days she doesn't. So I just feel like now she is another child just like everybody else. Not that she wasn't before, but with her feeds, she is able to get the nutrition that she needs, stay healthier, which can only help nourish her body and her bones and her muscles to help her while she's in physical therapy, and her head control and just trunk control and being able to meet these goals that she needs to meet for her well-being. So I hope this encourages you. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nutritionist, but I am happy to share more information with you about how the process we went through. And, you know, I still have a notebook from when we first started on when I was making her blends and how many calories were in each one and things that we added. And it's neat now to look back on that and then think about how far we've come in these 14 months. We've been completely blessed. The Lord has given us food, you know, since the beginning of time, and it's there to nourish our bodies and to take care of us. And I am just so thankful that even as a tube-fed kiddo, she can get the same nutrition that everyone else does. So if you haven't hit our subscribe button or liked our channel, please do that. You can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Cram Farms. We'd love to have you follow our journey as we try to live more sustainably and teach our kids about their food, where it comes from, and just how to live off of the land. So you'll see lots of things on our channel, from animals, gardening, and since both of our children have special needs, they both have cerebral palsy, and then we have a second set of twins that are quote unquote normal developing children. So there's lots of excitement always around here. We'll see you next time.